second one was, any funny stories or experiences you had with doing voice acting?
Oh, many. I wanted to get into voiceover stemmed from being a longtime fan of cartoons and video games, but I never thought it was something I could really get into. It seems so distant and so like impossible to touch. And it is a very competitive and very difficult field to break into, so it was like something I never even considered going into. And through just a strike of circumstance, I had one opportunity to do some background voices back in like 2000. It was just fresh out of high school. And just some like heads exploding and guys yelling, "Hey!" in the background of a Fist of the North Star anime series. And it's a long, convoluted story how that happened, but I got in there and just got to do that, and I was like, this is awesome! and I thought that'd be it. And then they started calling me back in for more bit parts and small backgrounds. Like once every 6 months or so. It was very, very sporadic, but it was enough for me to go like, maybe I should try and take this seriously. And it took many years, but I still had like, I was working on a pretty intense day job on the development side of video games. I was working like quality assurance and like some low-end production, doing 60-plus hour weeks. So like it was never something I could really actively pursue. But I began getting more work, and I began doing a lot of training and taking more classes. And so I decided back around 2007 that I had saved enough money to be risky about it and leave my job and go at this thing full force before I had like the responsibilities of like family or kids to worry about, where I wouldn't be able to be so risky with my choices to do it now. So I quit my job, unfortunately, which was working for Infinity Ward on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So I quit right before the back end bonus profit sharing kicked in, because then I would have bought a house. But whatever. It worked out okay for me in the end, because I'm here with you guys. Yeah, so I quit my job and began just taking classes really hard, like a lot of workshops and networking and trying to build up a stronger resume, produce a proper demo, and just network and meet people. And it took a while, a few years to finally get to a place where I was making enough money to support myself and not just drawing out of my savings every month. But I eventually got there, and so far so good.
And then any funny stories?
Oh man. Well, whenever you're doing a prelay animation where you have the whole cast there to record, we barely ever get anything done. Especially if any of these people are in the booth. Troy Baker, Nolan North, Kevin Michael Richardson. I did a project where all three were in the booth. And the director had to be like, Children! Shut up. So those always lend to interesting bits. As far as personally funny circumstances, the only thing the top of my head I can think of was I was recording a game called Fist of the North Star Ken's Rage, which was nice full circle to come back now from my beginnings in the series. I played a character named Ray who had like these bladed fingertips. He was just like sliced people with his fingers. It's kind of awesome. And there was one line that didn't quite get adapted properly, I guess, in English. And so we're just cold reading down the page and going through the character dialogue, and I get to a line, and I read it out loud. It's like, there's no way you can stop me from getting my fingers inside you. Stopped. So I turned my head to the director. He's looking at me, and he's like, producer. He just slowly turns his head to the director. The director slowly turns his head back to me, and he goes, we're going to workshop that in a minute, just hold it. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I think we have enough time just to get through what's remaining in the line, so we're going to try and shoot these questions pretty quick and make sure everyone gets the questions asked. So, awesome. Hello.
Okay, due to my love of the series and that no one else mentioned it, I was wondering if you ever played Sakura, and who's your favorite character and why?
Sakura, partially. Keiji, obviously. So, Warrior of Love, which is, finally. And he gets a fuzzy monkey. That's awesome. But I also did like Masamune. Just because I have an unnatural attachment to the name. That was like my pseudonym all through high school. Which I originally based off of my love of Chrono Trigger, in which you had the... And of course, it was the most powerful weapon for a white mage in the original Final Fantasy. So I began researching the history of like the actual swordsmith Masamune, and like his creations of Masa, and like all of his proteges, and like all the legends about that. So Masamune was a very important name to me. And still to this day, like a lot of my online stuff is some variation of Masamune. It's just stuck with me my whole life. And so naturally that character stuck out to me. And so I was really driven by him and kind of what he has to offer. And plus he's, looks pretty hard to carry all those swords around, so I give him props on that. So I'd probably say if not KGB Masamune.
Nice choice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. So my question was, I know that you play Anarchy from Batman Arkham Origins. Now, don't spoil it for me because I haven't finished it because I've been so busy with school and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But will you be able to play Anarchy in the next Arkham game that's coming out? Do you know if you'll be playing it or not?
I don't believe Anarchy is in the next game.
Okay.
As far as my involvement, I have nothing to say on that topic.
Okay. Could you also sign something after the questions are done?
Yeah.
It's for my little brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not a problem. I can say nothing on that topic.
Hi.
Hello, good morning.
I really like your voice work as Alvin from Tales of
Oh, thank you.
Well, did you have a lot of fun doing the Tales skit?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any particular that you like?
I've reintroduced the word bazongas into my current dating activity.
Yes!
It's a beautiful word that I think just is underutilized in general culture these days, so I'm trying to bring that one back. That one was a lot of fun. The whole discussion about whether or not Amelia is in bondage based on her outfit. It's a little weird. I was like, whoa, Alvin, you're showing your kink there, buddy. I guess you really are in the bondage. I mean, all right, this game's getting interesting. It's a mini game.
Are you allowed to say anything about Tales of Juliet yet?
I mean, I can say that we finished recording it.
Okay.
As far as I know, like the cast is returning. So no worries about last minute switches. I think they pretty much pulled everyone over from the first one. So.
Thank you.
I get a cool outfit.
I have a question do you have any particular anime or games that you really, really wanted a part in but didn't get it?
That happens often. There's a lot of auditions that come through, and as an actor, most of your job is rejection.
Oh yeah.
Constant rejection. So what I've adapted and works really well for me too is once the audition's done, I forget the project and just move on to the next one. Therefore, if you don't get it, you weren't thinking about it anyway. And if you do get it, it's a nice surprise. But every now and then there was a project that I'm like specifically invested in, like, and then end up not hearing back. I'm like, oh. In general, a project I missed because I was too young and not quite in the industry yet, but I always wanted to do is I wanted to get a crack at the Sephiroth. Once again, Masamune fetish is still there. Thank you.
Hi there, Matthew.
Hello.
So, my question is about Tales of Juliet as well, and I'm going to try not to be too spoilers for people who have not reached the point yet.
Back bars.
And I hope that you know what I'm talking about. But how do you feel about what Alvin did to Leia?
It's harsh. I mean, it was largely unintentional, specifically.
Yeah.
And I think that was really a turning point for him as a character. He began to realize the true ramifications for the choices he's making and the way he's treating the people that do care about him. And he really definitely realizes that his personal goals might not outweigh the friendships he's forged. And I think that was a really rough series of scenes to do for him. It was a lot of fun to kind of play out that aspect of the character.
Hard to watch.
He's so laid back and so kind of devil may care attitude the entire game, and then you get to that point and you kind of really see his emotions peek through and how really desperate he is in a lot of ways. And so I really enjoyed that scene. It was harsh, and I think it was a really crucial moment for the character to, number one, really get to the break of hating him, and then really see him break as a character. So I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. When you hit puberty, did your voice just get automatically sexy, or?
I don't think so. High school would have been a lot more interesting for me. No, I had. It was one of those things where there's many years of talking. I actually. This is an interesting note. I grew up with a really bad stutter. Most of my youth, most of my old home videos of me as a kid, I'm like trying to get the Christmas songs, and it's very much one of those like Rudolph the Red Nose you know, like I had a pretty intense stutter, but I just pushed through it and kept going. I went through many years of speech therapy for that, and that's kind of what helped me get past that. It began with me having a brain that was going too fast for my mouth, and so I just learned to speed my speech up, especially when nobody can understand me. It still creeps in every now and then. If I get really excited, sometimes I talk really fast, I'm going to say what I'm saying, but I'm trying to get point across. But yeah, then it brought it back. And so through years of speech therapy, to being very conscious of my voice, I began kind of cultivating what I wanted to do with it. And so, you know, when in high school, I began to be the kid in class that everyone asked me to read out loud when they had to read out loud. I was like, okay, sure, and then just go ahead, you know, escuchan, por favor. You know, it was silly. And then also a lot of military games, a lot of screaming tends to just slowly bring your register down. I listened to my stuff I did like 10 years ago, and I had of course, much higher voice when I was like 20, 21. And now it's just starting to settle in that deeper register, and I'm like, okay, I'm okay with this.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And for our last question, so if I can get a juicy one.
I don't know if I can do that.
It's okay. No pressure.
No pressure.
Since I had your D&D thing last night for a little bit, do you have any, I don't know, D&D stories that just stick out or anything like that?
Oh man, so many stories.
Oh my.
We've had some adventures. I'm running one. I have 2 campaigns I'm running right now. I'm going to get really nerdy here for a split second. Try to get nice. I have a 4th edition game and a Pathfinder game I'm running. And the Pathfinder game is comprised of mostly voice actors. Liam O'Brien, Laura Bailey, Travis Willingham, Sam Regan, Ryan Akava, Taliesin Jaffe, and Ashley Johnson, who you guys are familiar with her. She does a lot of voiceover stuff, but a lot of on camera. She was a child actress, but she's most recently known as Ellie in The Last of Us. And she plays our gnome cleric named Pike, and she's awesome. Well, Travis and Sam's characters get in a lot of trouble. They're like brothel brothers. Whenever they go into a town, they'll immediately find the nearest courthouses. They're like, all right, guys, we'll catch up with you in the morning. Travis, in one particular dungeon we were in, it was a druid barrow, or like a druid, you know, were interred essentially with their bodies and just forgotten for a long time. The trap set up as you're wont to do in a druid barrow. And there's a room full of tiles that had all these arcane runes in the ground. Some of them were trapped, some of them weren't, and they weren't able to really ascertain which ones were. So a lot of the players were just doing acrobatics rolls. And Laura's character is a ranger, like a long-range bow ranger with a bear pet named Trinket, which is adorable. And so she made a really good acrobatics roll, got across the room unscathed. And she's like, how am I going to get Trinket across? And Travis, who is playing a half-giant barbarian, goes, whoa, hit him with the back of my axe to give it a push. And he laughs about it like he's joking. And I'm like, you understand your wisdom is 7 and your intelligence is 8. You have no impulse control. He's like, whoa. All right, so you hit the back of Trinket with your axe. He goes, what? You know, the blood hits him. He growls and begins charging across the room. He's like, what? Hey man, you made the character. And so he ends up hitting 3 traps. Laura's like looking aghast in horror, like, no. She rolls a reflex save. He makes like 2 of them. He takes enough damage to where he's down to 3 hit points. This poor singed bear gets to the side. Smoke pouring off of him. And Laura looks at him and goes like, Trinket! And then gives Travis a look I have never forgotten. I was really into this. Trinket, no! He's a big man, he became very tiny. And they still, like, that still comes up a lot. Like, she's still, as far as she's concerned, he's still in the doghouse a little bit over that. But he survived. That would not have survived the marriage, I don't think. But yeah. There are many stories, but unfortunately not time.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
And can I get some autographs from my friends?
Yeah, I do have an autograph session coming up at, is it
3:30.
3:30.
Autograph session, so if you have a lot of items, that'll be
Oh, sure, we know.
People in the room. But for those of you who can't make it to the autograph session, I go to help you out with some of those. Oh, good point. Okay, so also, we have to clear the room, so we gotta get up and out of here. But guys, thank you all so much for coming. You're amazing. Happy Easter, and I'm gonna throw out some dice.